Good morning, riders, ridettes, and pillions. You'll have to forgive the sound of drunk Harley riders drag racing up and down the main street here in Grand Junction. Today is day 4 of my 5-day trip through the western parts of Colorado on my Triumph Speed Twin, and I'm giving myself a much-needed day of rest. Don't worry, we'll still be taking a little ride this evening. I'm spending 2 nights here in Grand Junction, and my original plan for today was to take a long ride to the Utah border and back by way of the Dolores River. However, I ended up covering all that yesterday in the form of a detour on my ride here from Silverton. If you missed that video, or either of the first 2 installments in this series, I recommend getting caught up. I'm making 1 video out of each day in this 5-day road trip. So anyways, what am I going to do with my day off? Well, I thought this would be a good opportunity to go over how I pack for a motorcycle trip like this one. After that, we're going to take a brief ride through downtown Grand Junction, and then head up to the Colorado National Monument. It should be a pretty incredible ride in the evening light, so stay tuned. Alright, so these are the bags that I use to carry everything with me on a motorcycle road trip. My primary luggage item, of course, is saddlebags. I'm using the SW Motec Blaze saddlebags. What is going on with my exposure? Look at that! It's like they're in a void. I'm just going to roll with it. I've already done a video owner's review on these bags. I'm pretty happy with them. They're semi-rigid, which is all I need. They are 14 liters each until you undo the expansion gusset, and then they become 21 liters each. You can see I've got 1 zipped up right now and 1 expanded, just so you can see the difference. Now 42 liters total is a whole lot of space, but I did find that these things filled up pretty quick when I was packing. So now let's go over the contents. Alright, that's basically everything. I didn't pull all of my clothes out of here, mostly because most of them are dirty at this point in the trip. But the brief version is I overpack for trips like this. So if I'm going on a 5-day trip like this, I'm bringing like 6 or 7 days worth of clothes. And layers too. This is Colorado after all, and it can be extremely cold in the morning and extremely hot during the day. So I have long johns, socks of a variety of thicknesses, and a whole bunch of pairs of compression shorts. That's actually my preferred undergarment when I'm in the saddle for a long time. I found that the best way to pack all my clothes in there was to roll them up into little tubes and kind of stack them like logs. I actually ended up drawing myself a little map of the inside of the bag so that I knew where things were and so that I could put them back the same way I had packed them originally. Alright, you always gotta have tools on a trip, especially on a European motorcycle. Hex wrenches, Leatherman, Gorilla Tape, things that make things that aren't stuck together stick together. Tire plugger kit, which I've thankfully never had to use. I know that you can open these up and just kind of pick and choose which components to bring with you to save weight. I didn't take the time to do that. Chain lube, of course. You want to do that about every 500 miles, so for me that's basically every other day on a trip like this, or after I get caught in the rain. Tire pressure gauge, helmet lock. Toiletry bag. This little dry bag contains chargers for... Oh my god. This little dry bag contains chargers for all things which charge. Headphones. This was a mistake. I should have just brought earbuds. Laptop charger. A pair of shoes. I go for the Chuck Taylors because these can fold really flat, and so that saves a lot of space inside the bag. I almost always bring a pair of street shoes with me just because, you know, if I'm walking around town in the evening or something, I don't want to have my motorcycle boots be my only option. I've done that in the past, and it wasn't very fun. This is my only food item that I haven't eaten yet on this trip. I started out with about 3 days worth of snacks. That's it for the saddlebags. Moving on to my rain gear. I have my Rev'It Acid H2O overpants. I absolutely love these pants. These have saved my life. And I love the color too. If you look directly at them, you will go blind. I also have my recently acquired Nelson Riggs Storm Rider rain overcoat. It just goes over my normal motorcycle jacket. My foul weather gloves are also from Rev'It. I can't remember the name of these. I'll put it on the screen. They're warm, they're waterproof, the fingers used to be touchscreen compatible, you know that stuff wears off in the rain. I've ridden many, many, many miles in some nasty weather in those gloves. I absolutely love them. And by the way, I'll have a link to these and most of my other stuff in the description below if you're curious. Lastly, we move to the backpack. This is where I have most of my camera gear and just things that I would want immediate access to. We've got my drone here, the DJI Mavic Air, as well as the controller for it, and my old cell phone that I use as a dedicated monitor for this controller. A Joby GorillaPod, my long lens, which is a 55 to 210 Sony E-mount that goes to my A6300, which currently is in my hand. Sunscreen. Can't ever forget sunscreen. I can't tell you how many times I've come back from a long day of riding and the back of my neck, you know, the only part of me that's exposed when I'm all geared up, is just completely burned. Lastly is a road atlas. You know, I'm going through some pretty remote areas, and if I got lost or had a problem somewhere that I could not count on having a GPS signal, that could be a lifesaver. I'm sure there are some smaller ones that are better suited to taking on a motorcycle, but that's just the one that I have.
I remembered something else that I always pack with me, and that's a disc lock. So I ended up skipping that little drive-through downtown. I played myself by waiting too long to leave my motel room, and now I need to get up to Colorado National Monument while I've still got some daylight. I can't say I'm entirely sure what Colorado National Monument is. I think it's a road. As far as I can tell, it's just a little scenic loop that winds like along the top of a mesa or something. But judging by the scenery I'm heading towards, I can see why they wanted to make a monument out of it. Oh man, I wish I had left an hour earlier. This is ridiculous. Those epic-sized canyon walls that I was gawking at yesterday evening, this is like riding on top of those instead of in between them. Oh my god, I almost can't look. When I show you shots like that, if you're worried that I'm taking my eyes off the road, I'm really not. I look with my eyes for about a second and then keep my head pointed at the scenery and point my eyes back onto the road. So as briefly as you get to glimpse all this natural beauty, I see it for even less time. Alright, at the next scenic overlook, I'm getting the drone out. This motorcycle is just a classy bombshell. And classy bombshells are kind of my type. Moments like this are why I appreciate those SW Motec bags so much, because they don't leave any brackets behind to clutter it up when you're trying to flex on the scenery. Tonight is my last night of this trip. Tomorrow I ride all the way from Grand Junction back to Longmont, about 400 miles. My longtime viewers will know that I left the comfort of my home to come out to Longmont, Colorado for 2 months. And during that time, this week, I've left the comfort of my home away from home to ride my motorcycle out west to these parts that, to me, are remote and uncharted. But I don't feel lost or homesick or even terribly far removed. I'm just here. The places I've gone on this trip are places that I've dreamed of going for a long, long time that just seem so out of reach and almost alien. And yet, here I am, riding around on my motorcycle, feeling great. Tomorrow's video, or I mean, the video I'm filming tomorrow, you probably won't see it for another week. Tomorrow I'll be answering the question that I asked at the beginning of this trip. Is the Triumph Speed Twin a good touring bike? Spoiler alert, the answer is, it depends. I'll also be reflecting on some of my experiences over the last 5 days and saying what all I might have done differently or what else I would like to do on my next trip of this type. If any of that sounds interesting to you, or if you've enjoyed this series so far, I hope you'll be around to see it. Even after I'm back in Longmont, there's still a lot more I want to do here in Colorado before I pack up and head home for DC. I know I'm not going to have time for all of it, and squeezing as much in as I can is probably going to mean that I'll be pretty slow to edit the videos I film, including these. Alright, I gotta get home and pack all my stuff back into my bags. I've said it before, but I'll keep saying it. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me. And it really has been a journey. As always, ride safe, and I'll see you right back here for the next video. Thanks for watching. So I'm filling up here with gas for tomorrow. And as I was coming up to this intersection, I saw a sign that this is Route 50. And I don't know if you know this, but Route 50 actually runs from coast to coast, uninterrupted. I actually was riding on it for a good portion of, gosh, what was it, my second day of the trip? Yeah, coming out of Monarch Lodge. And where Route 50 passes through Arlington, Virginia, is actually right outside an apartment building I used to live in. So technically, here in Grand Junction, Colorado, I am on the street that I used to live on. There's something poetic about that. Like you're never as far from home as you think you are or something. I don't fucking know. End the video.